Coming up on UGTV. A special session of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas.
Good evening. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thanks all for being here tonight and all those who may be watching. Ask the clerk to announce the meeting and please call roll.
A special session is being held on Thursday, April 26, 2018 at 5:00 p.m. in the 5th floor conference room for a SOAR quarterly update. Roll call. McKiernan.
Here.
Mugia. Johnson. Kane. Here. Markley. Here. Walters. Here. Philbrook. Bynum.
Here.
Burrows.
Here.
Townsend. Alfie.
Here. Tonight we are here for a quarterly update on the SOAR program. Administrator Bach, please start us off.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. That is where we're at. As we move into 2018, we have all our departments active and working on all the different missions we have set forth that are under the heading of SOAR. And we have our team here to give our quarterly update as to what's been going on so far this year and looking ahead to what we're going to be doing. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Assistant County Administrator Melissa Seaven.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Commission. We have a new format for our presentation tonight, but we did manage to get it printed out for you. So we did miss 2 slides I noticed in printing, so I do apologize, but we will cover those on the screen, and the actual full presentation will be uploaded later if you need those 2 slides for some reason. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn over our first quarter update, which actually ended March 30th, to Tib Laughlin, General Services Director and Tax Sale Extraordinaire today.
First, I'd like to thank all the staff and elected officials who came over to support the tax sale today, no matter what the natural necessity that drove you there might have been. We had a successful tax sale day. The last count, we had taken in $1.2 million in delinquent revenue before we started the day this morning. So, and we were at about $600,000 in sales while we were waiting on those last people to come in and pay for what they bought. And now to what you've all been waiting for, our quarterly SOAR review in the new format, where we're going to touch on the exciting NERSA district, our lead paint abatement, our feral cats and dogs issue, the very popular and well-received resident survey, and my personal favorite, vacants. We have a lot of exciting activity in the area of vacants. Now, as we've touched on before, it's my opinion that blight issues, unmowed grass, weeds, those are an annoyance, and they are a very, very valid annoyance. But vacancy is an actual danger. There's a danger posed by fire, there's a danger posed by crime, there's the danger to the value of our neighborhood. We are moving into an exciting time where our web-based registry comes live next month. We are in position. We will have that live on May 1st. For everybody who calls in on May 1st, we will start registering those vacants on May 2nd after we've trained on how to do that. We have a company that this is all web-based. We do not have to host it. They will be providing us with the big missing link piece that we have not been able to get on our own, which is all those mortgage company-owned vacants that are sitting out there, or as people like to call them, those zombie mortgages. These people specialize first and foremost in contacting mortgage companies about their vacant property. And there are thousands of those out there. We have not been able to find, there's no trace. There's no way to find it. Mortgage company vacants traditionally don't catch our attention because they don't need boarding. They're not run down. They have somebody mowing the lawn, but they're sitting out there and they're lowering our values and diminishing our neighborhoods, and now we have a way to get to them. This is our new presentation software. We're showing you many of the features, including reverse. Dangerous structures. We have, until now, referred to this as simply our demo list. Our demo list does not capture the actual significance of what's on there. We have subdivided our demo list into those dangerous structures. Those are the ones that are imminently going to fall down. They're going to fall on a neighbor's house. They're going to fall on someone. There's no saving those. Those are treated differently than the ones that will fall down in 10, 20 years if we leave them alone. But we have worked on shifting some of our, we've got a huge budget for demolition, and we have been doing a great job at demoing houses. So great, in fact, some people have asked, should we be knocking all of these down? Further down the list, we will be talking about our process improvements, where we are taking a second look at whether we should be knocking all of these down or if they're salvageable. Yeah. Okay, for everybody who can read that, we've had 38 referred this year. You'll have to take that on faith till the magnifying glass comes out.
38, I was right. Yeah, sorry. It looked bigger on my screen.
We currently have 42 structures that are out for bid. That is, we are ready to go as soon as Aaron awards those contracts. They're being looked at and ready to go. 19 of those are land bank. 3 are on the dangerous list, which are on a shorter timetable. Our very lush demo budget is still healthy. We estimate we can do at least 112 structures with that money. Last year, we did half that. Now we're going to move away from just reading slides to you because I think you can all read.
Deb, I'm sorry. Commissioner Bynum has.
Can I ask you a question now that relates to demo? So Commissioner Townsend and I, and Commissioner Johnson was involved to a degree, had brought forward basically a whole list of Brown Avenue addresses. And I know some of those have made their way to the demo list. And this would be a good time for me to ask if any of those are in the 42 structures ready for bid or awarded.
I'm going to go to the phone a friend option, Commissioner.
Okay.
Of those 42, none of those are structures that are located on Brown.
Okay. Well, I know that some of the Brown Avenue structures are on the demo list.
Yes.
Not in this group that's going to get taken care of soon.
Correct.
Okay.
There are a few commercial structures that are on Brown that I'm looking into that will be coming down soon.
Okay, so I'll defer to Commissioner Townsend. We've asked for priority on these, but I'll let you take it from here.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Bynum. Some of those items, I'm going to go back and check by specific addresses. I think more of them were really needing to be followed up on other code enforcement. So the good thing is, I don't think the majority of them were to be demolished, but we'll certainly follow up on which ones we have asked to be demolished and were scheduled to be. And we're talking about a year ago. But as you say, with the lush budget,
Some were, I have the whole list, and I'll
Me too.
forward it again, and some were definitely demo.
Yes.
And that's why I stopped to ask if any of them were in this group, but that's, you can proceed.
The good news is none that were only meant for code issues have been demolished or imminently going to be. Maybe. We started the year with 198 on the dangerous buildings list, formerly known as the demo list. 42 of those are poised to go. We are making big progress. We've seen a lot of demolition around town, though Aaron points out to me that not all of that is ours. Apparently other people are following our lead and knocking down buildings that have needed it for a long time. 18 of those are sitting within the buffer zone of historic districts. We are giving those a much harder look at how we handle those. Aaron's taking those in front of the Landmarks Commission. If it truly needs it, it truly needs it. But if there is any other option, that is what we are looking at, is what we can save. For years, because the final stop for codes, because they could not get things into the tax sale in a timely manner, was to put things on the demo list as desperation. In our new world, when you request it, it goes in the tax sale if it's eligible. So we are reviewing how we move things through this process and making sure that nothing salvageable is being knocked down. As part of that, you see the departments that have worked together on a process map. Instead of pushing things in desperation to codes, we'll first go to the tax sale. The net result of that is going to be either it's salvageable by someone in the public, or it ends up in the land bank where we then show it to our demo pool. So we're taking, or to our rehab pool in Propertunity Knox. So we're taking 2 more bites at the apple of trying to solve this problem. But when it comes down to time that it actually has to be demolished, we own the building, which makes it a vastly simpler process to demo it. And it is not as if when we demoed it while you still owned it, we ever collected those demo fees from you. In fact, it's an impediment to the tax sale process. If we have to knock your house down, add that $15,000 to your tax bill, we now have to wait an extra year for that to become delinquent before we could move that to the tax sale. So if you've got somebody who wants to build on that, they can't for at least another year. So this process takes a little more time on the front end, much more effective on the back end. And oh yeah, and it saves buildings. We are working up a list of our demos to Diamonds houses that we had given up on, that either privately or through our rehab program, people have turned around when we thought they weren't salvageable. Boarding. One of our most exciting topics. That is one of the things we hear most about from the public, that we are getting out there and boarding. Now, we have consolidated our boarding program. Parks and Rec is doing all the boarding now. We used to do that through both code enforcement and through the land bank. We now have one person managing our boarding contracts. We have previously established one set of standards. You all saw those last summer. We now treat boarding as if we are handling something that is an asset instead of just an albatross. Now, for those buildings on our dangerous buildings list that are an imminent danger, we board to a different standard. We get that boarded up because it's going to be boarded for less than 30 days. When we treat this as an asset, we board it securely in ways that preserve the windows and the frames. We don't screw into the frames anymore, and we put a door on that thing so we can open it up and show it to our rehabbers. It's a huge change from how we've done business. It does cost us about twice as much to board. We used to board houses. Yeah. We used to board houses and it cost us about $500. We take a sheet of plywood and a box of screws and we screw those into whatever frame is available. It's not the most attractive thing, it's not the most secure thing, but it's quick. Costs us about $500 each. To do this properly, it costs us about $1,000. That's a combination of $1,000 to $1,200 based on our land bank experience. That's a combination of the fact that we are now boarding second-story windows when we can get at them. Anything that is either already compromised or accessible is getting boarded. We've never touched second-story windows until this year. We're also boarding more securely in ways that salvage that window frame so that we're not compromising a thing that we're going to turn around and get back on the market. So we're not damaging our own stock. The downside of that is that it costs more. We had $28,000 at NRC last year for boarding. We ran out of boarding money on September 18th. We simply did not have boarding money. We scavenged in couches. We looked in drawers. We passed the hat to come up with boarding for the rest of the year. But we still fell short of what the need is. And remember, right now we are boarding when someone complains. I have had a commissioner, I'm not going to name names, say to me, if I see this, I know staff sees this, why do I have to call and make it a complaint before we act? And part of the reason is there's not the budget to address it at anything but a complaint-driven basis right now. It looks even worse when we move to the land bank budget. They had a bigger budget, almost $80,000, but they've been using the new system all year long that costs twice as much. They spent $128,000 of their $80,000 last year on boarding. You can see they start almost $50,000 short. So by my estimate, about the time we reach July, even though we've combined these two budgets, we will be out of boarding money again. And now we'll turn it over to Melissa and move on to less gripping topics than vacancy.
Yeah. Well, on to some exciting neighborhood work. This year is also the neighborhood deep dive. And our exciting news about our Park Drive neighborhood is that we received our NRSA designation from HUD. We have never had one of these, so we've gone for them before, but never were approved. We did receive approval back in February, as some of you may know. We're really excited about this. It is going to be a great amount of work for staff, and we have a cadre of us working on this. Wilba Miller from Community Development is leading the group with myself, and Logan Messentine, who is our intern currently, will be becoming our coordinator here shortly, and other CD staff and folks throughout the UG are also helping us. So far this year, we've hosted 3 subcommittee meetings with our internal or external stakeholders. These groups range from 10 to 20 participants, and they are helping us set out our neighborhood work for this year. So we're being very deliberate about what we're going to do because we know we have only 1 or 2 shots to get people's attention, and when we do that, we want to be as constructive as we possibly can be. With that being said, one of the great things that started this year through some kind of connections through our Rotary Club here downtown is that we actually got a partnership started with the Girl Scouts in this neighborhood. And they're already doing things like building robots and doing health badges, which is great because part of the NRSA is also improving educational attainment and helping people kind of move beyond where they're at to be more successful. We've also already done some infrastructure work, not the kind of glamorous street stuff, but we've replaced 21 street signs that the neighborhood told us were missing or not in good shape, as well as a guardrail in the area. And lastly, for this year, we're currently bidding out and getting ready to do some construction work on North 27th Street from Park Drive to Ridgeview Avenue, as well as Ridge Avenue from 18th to 26th Street. And if you've driven any of those, they are definitely ready for some much needed love and tender care.
Commissioner Bynum?
Yes.
In the NRSA work, is there any traffic study underway as a part of the initiative? I have two different specific traffic complaints from that area.
Not that I'm aware of, but Public Works is often doing traffic studies, and
So I can just share those with
if you share them with me, I'll make sure we get them to, and we want to track that as work that we're doing in this neighborhood to report to HUD. So yeah, please share. Our community building events as planned right now, including walking events, one of which will be done by NRC staff, and then the other will follow by a combination of folks from our community development department, as well as our partners like Habitat for Humanity. So we're going to come in and talk to you about what you need to do to keep your property maintained, and then we're going to follow that with a group of us who can actually help you get resources to do that. And then after that, we're going to host a community event where we are there to talk and have fun with the neighborhood and maybe help connect each other in the neighborhood with resources such as their neighbors. So that's what we have on the NRSA area so far this year. The other big initiative, which we will be working in the NRSA, but also throughout the community, is our lead hazard control grant. And WILBA has a tagline that her and her staff have developed, UG No Lead KC paint program, which I think is quite cool, and it actually kicks off on May 1st, so next week. So May Day, get ready for your no lead. Another area that we're also covering with SOAR is our feral animal issues that we have throughout the community. And I have been working with Commissioner Bynum and Commissioner Philbrook with the KCK Pet Coalition with our Animal Services Division. And I'm just pleased to report that so far this year we've spayed and neutered almost 500 feral cats in the community, and there's a very deliberate process on this going on to help control that population. And it's just amazing the love and care that all these volunteers are taking to help these animals in our community out. And also we want to report that there is planning now underway, starting in this last quarter, that we're reporting on to how we're going to start to attack our loose or feral dog population in this community, which I believe you'll see in our citizen survey is definitely a concern of our residents. Last area that I'm going to cover today is just what we see as SOAR-related resident survey results, and we just did get our final information. I hope you've all received your documents either via email or hard copy. But we want to highlight on this slide that a lot of our residents, 19% of them, think that things are getting better in their quality of life here, and another 7% said it's never been better. So we feel pretty good about those results, and we're hoping that we can move that 52% this next go around. So some of our SOAR wins, we've discussed these before, but these are all our code enforcement statistics, which actually cover everything from public works to parks to NRC. And you can see the blue is where we move the needle, and most of these were more than 3 to 7%, which is really impressive just in basically a year and a half worth of work trying to make our community look better and have it be noticed by our residents. We did want to note that we feel like we're on the right track here again with what we're seeing, and a lot of emphasis that folks are wanting to see is that cleanup of trash and debris. We feel like SOAR is poised to help do that over the next couple of years before we take this again, and also just continuing to work on those vacant properties. We did do a specific code-related question in here that relates to the SOAR's Blight Initiative, and we just want to highlight question 14 when you go into your resident survey, just to kind of see where residents feel the impact of our blight in our neighborhoods. And crime is right up there, drugs, but then right after that is the animal issue that I was just talking about. And then from there, it's rundown buildings. So definitely think we're on the right track again. One of the items that I wanted to highlight, because we were just before standing committee earlier this week, talking about a pilot program for trash and recycling, was question 22A, which we did ask in advance this year because SOAR was looking at how could we cut down the amount of junk and debris in our neighborhoods. And residents responded quite positively, almost 50%, 49% very supportive, and 24% somewhat supportive on actually moving to a cart-based system, which is why we felt confident to bring forward what we thought was the next phase after we asked this question, which was consideration of a pilot program, which we'll be talking about on May 10th. So, the last thing, why SOAR work is important, and this is what I'm ending on. You can see here that out of all the things that we surveyed our residents about, the top 2 priorities are the maintenance of streets and code enforcement. And we feel that the work that is set out between the commission's goals and the work of SOAR is truly trying to move the needle in that area. And that is all we have.
Okay, the comment you just made about the trash barrels, go to the Wyandotte West newspaper and see the response of the people, what they thought about that. They had the same thought I did. They didn't like it either. How much money is set aside for SOAR?
I don't have a way to quantify SOAR because it's all our department's work. So we put a number on it a couple years ago, but it's not. I don't know. I can't. Doug, I don't have a good answer for that.
Different things we're doing in there that are probably over $1 million that are going towards SOAR. So
they're not new initiatives.
I mean, some are toward trash or mowing, which was one of the big ones that we started with. Where we're at.
I'd like to see a map with little dots of where we've done the work. We do that in a lot of other things that we do. And I think that that would be interesting. Sorry, well, we're done 6 here, 5 here, 4 there.
Okay, we'll look and see if that's something that makes sense with how we're doing some of these programs. I mean, I know.
Well, it would help me explain how we spent X amount of dollars in X amount of areas. You know, because I don't want to just say, well, we spent $1 million, but I can't tell you where it was at.
Well, mowing would be on every land bank property, any property the UG is currently mowing. That was also to create additional rounds of mowing in UG parks. So in addition to land bank, a lot of that initial dollars was mowing dollars. Probably half of that was mowing dollars.
So we'll be able to put some of it for sure on the map.
Commissioner McKiernan.
You know, one thing that you didn't put on your resident survey slides that I was looking at that I thought was also very heartening is that if you go back, and it's in the benchmarks area, where we're benchmark against the metro and against, I think it's the entire United States, US average, and the Kansas City metro. In things like overall quality of life in Wyandotte County from 2016 to 2018, it's only a 2% increase, but it's an increase. How well the county is planning for growth, increase. Overall quality of city and county services, increase. Overall image of Wyandotte County, increase. So there have also been in those benchmarking, as we think about globally, regardless of each individual city and county service, as we think globally about it, I think we should also be encouraged by the fact that there is an overall increase in the perception of the image and the quality of life here. So good job.
Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mayor. I too would like to commend everyone who's worked on this project. There were things that this commission started a couple of years ago, like the mowing all over the city to take better care, that now we put under the umbrella of SOAR. But there's so many other things, and you're right. A small victory is a victory. An improvement is an improvement. We want to keep moving that way. Going back to money needed for the particular purpose of boarding, what would be the number? If we could average what we did last year, what we didn't do because we ran out of money, so as we go into budget, we can kind of get a number in our mind. If we want to do X houses, how much that's going to take. And I'm not asking for that number now, but just to more specifically quantify, like the commission did last year when we said we're going to increase the budget specifically to do additional demolition. Less budget for that. So I'd like to see later some number to equate what we want to strive to do for the next year budget. Thank you.
You're welcome, and that is why we're trying to get a firm handle on the conversion to parks, handling the boarding for the unified government, and that coordination and create some efficiencies. So we should have a solid number here within the next few weeks.
Commissioner McKiernan.
I do have one more thing. So, Tib, you said earlier you wouldn't rat out the commissioner who says, if I drive by it and see it, okay, it was me. But one of the things...
We all knew that, Commissioner.
I did not say that, Commissioner.
Okay. But if, in fact, one of the things that is stopping us from making progress in those areas, because you said, hey, we all see it, but we don't have the budget to go after it, then we should have heard 2 months ago about the specific budget needs. I mean, we're building the budget right now. And so I think we should hear in the process of building the budget. So it doesn't come as a yellow sheet item. So it's built in from the very beginning. It's not a late change. Oh, we need more. Oh, where's that money going to come from? But it's built from the very beginning. So.
Not a yellow sheet yet.
Okay, good.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I will now proceed to the Commission Chamber for the graduation ceremony for the Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office. It starts at 6 p.m. Thank you.